What's up, guys? Welcome back to Newswave. Well, earlier this week, some controversy exploded online around Nintendo's big holiday release when it was revealed that it would actually be missing out on a pretty big feature people were hoping to have in the game, and we'll go over that here today. Also, we are going to be talking about Microsoft and Starfield as they made a big announcement as well as revealed some new details for the game, and we'll also be taking a look at what appears to be the world's smallest fully featured controller, and well, you're gonna have to see this one. Guys, if you enjoy these videos, make sure that like button helps out a ton, and if you're new here to the Spawnwave channel, make sure you subscribe down below. And we're gonna start today with an interesting crossover that I guess got revealed a bit too early, because you can see the tweet here for it, and this is from Clobrel over on, well, Twitter X, who says Master Chief is coming to Rainbow Six Siege Sledge Elite skin, and it appears to be correct because it got hit with a copyright strike. So I guess Ubisoft, or I guess it could have technically been Microsoft as well, out making sure the footage isn't there. But I will say, while I can't show it to you, obviously, because they're out striking stuff down, it looked pretty good for the most part. I mean, considering it's a skin for Sledge, a character in the game, where it just kind of makes him look like Master Chief. There are also some animations that look very, very fluid for it and all of this. And it's an odd one to see pop up. Because, well, one, Rainbow Six Siege is it's getting up there in age. You'd like to think that maybe Ubisoft would have another Rainbow Six game coming up that's not Extraction. But the other part is just Master Chief being in a different service game. I actually think that's a good idea, though. Because really what you have to do at this point is just make people aware that Halo Infinite and Master Chief is still a thing. So sure, all these kind of crossovers is only going to help Halo Infinite at this point. I'm not really sure when this is coming out necessarily because, well, the footage got out a bit early. So I guess keep your eyes open for Master Chief invading Rainbow Six Siege. Oh, and here's a bit of a blast from the past, technically, or just nostalgia around MMORPGs, and that's for DC Universe Online. It's still going. It's been about 12 years, I think, now, and you could see this post over on their website. This is for DCUO Development Update August 2023. In here, they go over episode 46. Wow, that's kind of cool. It's Justice League Dark. Now, the big thing that they point out here is that there is an Xbox Series X and PlayStation 5 version of the game that's in the works, and according to them, it'll be launching this holiday season. I say nostalgia for this, kind of tongue-in-cheek. It's a game that I remember when it came out, and a couple of us were really into it, then we fell out of it, but the game continues to trudge along here. I was kind of surprised when it popped up in the news that it was just still going, but I guess it also kind of recently went to the Switch, and of course it was on like the PS3, then the PS4, now the PS5, and it's been on PC this whole time. I thought it was kind of a cool MMO when it came out, and I guess people have continued to support it since then. So there you go. If you're waiting to hear about it, yes, it is coming to the PlayStation 5 and the Series X later on this year. Oh, and we did get a release date for the downloadable content, or the expansion, heading to TMNT Shredder's Revenge, along with a full trailer. And the trailer had a bit of a surprise. I went over some of the content that would be here, and it appears we're going to have one other piece of content with Karai, another character, being added in, which I'm sure is great for fans of the animated series and all of this. But August 31st, so 2 weeks from now, of course, this will be the Dimension Shell Shock DLC going to all platforms of the game's on. If you have not played Shredder's Revenge, I can't recommend it enough. I mean, it's definitely a callback to the old school arcade days with the Turtles, but also it still has online multiplayer and plenty of stuff to do, just in like the overworld story part where you level up your characters and stuff. So I'm definitely going to be checking out this downloadable content when it drops in a couple of weeks. And guys, with some of the quick news out of the way, let's get into the bigger stuff. Let's start right away with some controversy that's now surrounded Nintendo's big holiday release, and that's for Super Mario Bros. Wonder. I think this game looks really good. We've been wondering how they would try to maybe build on or change up the typical 2D formula for Mario, and I think some of the stuff they're doing with Super Mario Bros. Wonder aesthetically and also seemingly gameplay-wise with some of the psychedelic shifts to the world, it could be a lot of fun going through and make each world feel very, very unique based on the different effects and things they do when you grab certain power-ups and that sort of thing. However, this tweet went up the other day. And this is from Nintendo of Europe, who says adventures are more fun with friends. Team up locally in 4-player co-op to complete courses in Super Mario Bros. Wonder. This, of course, coming out October 20th. And people read through that a few times. They said, hold on, team up locally? There's online play, right? Well, if you go to the page for it, not quite. Single system 1 through 4 players, and the only thing that's mentioned here for the Nintendo Switch Online is Save Data Cloud. Nothing when it comes to online support for multiplayer, which would be listed here, and immediately that had a lot of pushback, and people were pretty frustrated with the idea that there would be no online multiplayer for a game that's obviously pushing towards the multiplayer aspect. And it is odd because kind of goes against, I'll at least give Nintendo credit, what they've been doing with a lot of games, which is at times even trying to force online multiplayer into it. I say force because Super Mario Maker 2's online multiplayer was pretty rough. Super Smash Bros. Online multiplayer is pretty rough. And at times, I remember Mario Tennis also being pretty rough. Now, that comes down to the connection, obviously, of all the different people who are playing the game. But for some reason, with 2D platformers, still seems to be something that many of these companies are struggling with. And while we are talking about Super Mario Bros. Wonder, I do want to point out that Sonic Superstars appears to be going through a similar thing. That's coming out this fall. But according to Sega, they gave a reason for this, by the way. It's because Sonic is too fast for it to be online enabled. I'm not even kidding. That's what they said in an interview. Now, to Sonic Superstars' credit, there will be like this battle mode or just separate mode in general that's designed more for online. And I just think at this point, if there really is this kind of a struggle for 2D platformers to go online with multiplayer, then somebody's got to innovate and figure it out. That's just kind of where we are with it. And you figured if you would look around, it'd probably be Nintendo to do it, even though I know their whole struggles with online in general, but they are also the ones who showed up with the original Super Mario Brothers, big 2D platformer that really had the original Nintendo take off and take over, right, at that time. So you feel like if you're going to go back to the drawing board somewhat and reinvent stuff with Super Mario Bros. Wonder, you really go the whole distance and you have some sort of online multiplayer component to it. Especially after we saw them bring up Mario 3D World, Bowser's Fury, and that had full online multiplayer. It just feels old, or archaic is what I should say, to have no online multiplayer for something like Super Mario Bros. Wonder, which again, I think is going to be a really good 2D platforming experience, but that definitely sticks out nowadays to have no online multiplayer for a game that's clearly leaning into it. But this obviously is going to depend on your situation, how much you really care about it or not. Let me know if this is something that is frustrating to you, or if you don't really mind because you're probably just going to do couch co-op anyway with people at your house. Next up, let's talk about Xbox and Starfield. We are quickly approaching early access period for this, which is September 1st, and then the big release, September 6th. In fact, it has now gone gold. This was announced over on X.com, which you can see the message that was posted up here, saying Starfield has gone gold. Preloads begin tomorrow or today for the Xbox Series X and Windows PC. Make sure you have plenty of room available, as it appears it's nearly 130 gigabytes that you have to download to preload it, but obviously, there's plenty of time between now and release to get that all downloaded and set up. You can even see on August 17th for the Xbox, but on Steam, August 30th. So maybe cutting it a bit closer, but still giving you at least an entire 2 days before early access, or at that time, a full week before the game itself comes out. Now, there was a Q&A that took place with Bethesda, and they gave us quite a bit of new information. For example, there will be a jail system, which is interesting. So I guess you can go to jail and then there's a way to maybe break out of jail or get bailed out, or maybe you put people in jail. As it's something we'll have to explore there when the game comes out. The thing that I was pretty excited about is you get to buy homes in different cities all across the universe. So it's always fun to hear that you can get like maybe a really big mansion or house in a game, and then you kind of outfit it with all kinds of cool stuff. In this case, multiple homes though. So interesting there. And I guess one thing that's going to play into a backstory or somebody's profession, you could say, is to maybe transport contraband back and forth and sort of set that up as a smuggler, as you will be hiding illegal contraband on your system or your ship based on maybe different modules and stuff that you install, so you can hide them, whether it's in the floorboards or in the walls or something. And the companions in the game that you can befriend and add to your crew over 20 of them. They're all named, and according to Bethesda, there was a big focus placed on companions tying into the main quest. So it'll feel very natural that they are with you, say, on your main quest, or that they're not with you. So interesting stuff there. And Starfield is really setting up, I think, to just be this massive release for Microsoft, and also a return to form for Bethesda after what happened with Fallout 76. But I am very excited for Starfield. It sounds like there is a massive amount of stuff to explore. They even mentioned that people who've been playing it, I guess for QA and testing, have not seen everything in the game still, as of course they would know, since bug reports and logs and stuff would be sent back to them. So it's going to be fun. Looking forward to it, and to my understanding, reviewers are just now getting their hands on this game. So still plenty of time, I would say, relatively speaking, for a game like this, up until release to get those reviews in, and then we'll see how this game does on Metacritic and critically and all of that. But exciting stuff there, obviously, for people who are fans of Bethesda, but also people who've been waiting years to finally get their hands on Starfield. We're just a couple weeks away. Next up, let's talk about the new tiniest controller on the market, and this is from 8-Bit Do. Now, they have done like small controllers in the past, but they only had like 2 buttons, and they're very limited in terms of their functionality, whereas now they've introduced a controller that is fully featured for the most part. There's no analog stick on it, but when you get down to it being literally micro, it's kind of hard to fit a stick on there that might take up the entire side of it, but you can see it here, and this is called the 8-Bit Do Micro. And you can see the full D-pad. They have multiple function buttons as well as plus, minus, A, B, X, and Y. And then you also have some shoulder buttons there at the top with USB-C charging. I believe at this point they have a green and sort of an indigo blue kind of color. Now, according to them, it weighs just under 25 grams, but it has 16 buttons. And I mean, we're talking like 70 millimeters overall by 40 millimeters. So this is a very, very small controller. It does support firmware updates, mode switching, and it has support for the Switch, Android, and the Raspberry Pi. Now, they do say that it has 10 hours of battery life with a 1 to 2 charging hour time. And you might be wondering, what's the point of this? Really, it comes down to portability, as you could legitimately just carry this around in your pocket. It's that small. But they show off some other functionality. For example, pairing it up with a tablet, and it can sort of have keyboard mode so that you can use it for inputs alongside of as someone is, for example, drawing on their tablet there. And it comes in at $25, so it's not like super expensive or anything there. Just something kind of neat to point out, because 8-Bit Do has done this before, making controllers small, but not like this where it has this kind of functionality. It is set to start shipping out in the next week or two, so if you want to get one of these, I'd recommend probably getting your pre-order in soon. And in our last bit of news, let's talk about an interesting sale that's been going on for the last week or so. And the only issue is it's kind of hard to cover it, because when a game gets revealed, by the time I would tell you about it, it would be expired and then it'd be on to the next one. But I figure at this point, some of the deals have been good and at least make you aware of the program so you can kind of keep an eye on it for yourself. But this is being done through Best Buy, and basically every day a new game gets revealed to be $10. These are like new games at Best Buy. You can, for example, see some of the previous games that have been on sale, and that includes Sackboy on the PS5 and the PS4. I saw Gotham Knights in there. That's, well, again, not like the best game or anything. $10, it's easier for people to justify that. Far Cry 6, Outriders, and yesterday, Neo 2. So they still have 4 more games, as they're going to do 10 days, obviously, for $10 on each game, right? Yeah. So still 4 more days, and I am curious if maybe the last one is a really, really good deal, but just something to keep an eye on there, as I like to make you guys aware of some of these different sales, and it's for physical games. So it's just another benefit thrown in there as well, but definitely keep your eye on it. I think Wario64 is also keeping track of this, so if you follow him on X.com, you should at least be made aware of what these games are that are revealed. And before we go to the comment of the day, we're taking a look at the poll that I posted up yesterday, where I ask, do you use split screen or couch co-op in games that have it? Okay, so 32% say yes, use it all the time. 46% say not really, maybe a couple times a year at most. And then 21% say no, I mostly play multiplayer games. online. And that's the thing I've noticed more and more now is, I mean, back in the day, it was basically accepted that if you were going to do multiplayer in a game, you're getting together in the same roof and you're playing, probably even on just one TV. Eventually we got to the point where we could have multiple systems hooked up, and that was pretty cool, especially when you had Ethernet cables running all through the hallways, and I'm sure your parents loved you for that. But now we're in the age where it's just online multiplayer is basically accepted. That with Discord is a lot of people's go-to. So yeah, when you see these 2D platformers like Super Mario Bros. Wonder or Sonic Superstars not having it, it sticks out a lot. So I would hope that eventually we get to a point where 2D platformers just have online multiplayer across the board, and it's expected, because this seemed to kind of be expected online, but Nintendo, I guess, couldn't get it done, or they didn't like the results of it. Hard to say. Hopefully this is something they can get figured out in the future, because other than this, Super Mario Bros. Wonder looks like a slam dunk. And we'll finish up with the comment of the day, as you're seeing here. This is from Sprite, who says, I hope Insomniac's Wolverine is shown at Gamescom. Technically, that would fit in with Jeff Keighley said, which is that these would be updates on already announced games. But I also feel like right now, Sony wants all the focus to be on Spider-Man 2. So even something as simple as a trailer for Wolverine could have people maybe looking, I don't say past Spider-Man 2, but attention would be split basically, right? They're both Marvel properties and all of that. So I think Wolverine we'll hear more about maybe at the end of next year, as I kind of see that as a 2025 release. But it's interesting to think that it's Insomniac who just keeps rolling along. Spider-Man 2 looks great. And then, oh yeah, Spider-Man 2's out. What's next? Oh, I don't know. How about Wolverine? And then, oh wait, they're also working on a multiplayer project. Insomniac just doesn't stop. They are still, I think, in terms of just overall releases and the quality of those releases, I mean, it's Insomniac, or Insomniac is Sony's most valuable studio, at least right now throughout the PS5 generation. And ladies and gentlemen, that's going to do it here for Newswave. If you enjoyed this video, guys, hit that like button. If not, hit the dislike. Leave comments down below about everything we talked about here today. Was the situation around online for Super Mario Bros. Wonder? Let me know if you were even expecting it to be in there and you were surprised that it wasn't. And also, what about Starfield with all these new details coming out? Are you picking it up either in early access or day one? Thanks guys for watching, and I'll see you next time.